Well, welcome to another Workshop Wednesday, casual conversations with serious workflows. Did you hear anything during the intro video? Do you normally hear something during
I heard
the
this. I
intro
heard
video?
that. Da, da, na, 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 na. I heard
Wait,
the
no, I'm not
song.
hearing anything.
Oh, are you
Just
hearing anything from me?
all right.
Can you
These
hear me?
headsets.
Uh-oh, you can't hear
All right,
me.
hold on.
Oh boy.
We're gonna get rid of this. Big up. 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 We're gonna get rid of this.
Uh-oh,
Big up. We're gonna get rid of this. Big
you're
up. We're gonna get
repeating,
rid of this.
Dan.
Big up. We're gonna get rid of this. 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 Big up.
Uh-oh.
We're gonna. All right. How about now?
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah, Landon's saying the same thing I just did. Yeah. But you know what, Dan? I have this. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so I have that same headset that was doing it to me too when I was in the meeting with Jamie and Laurette, and they were laughing at me. And I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah. So if you heard I assume the video played fine and you could hear it and everything, but I was hearing like silence with a little clicking
Oh, yeah,
and
no. I heard this. I heard the video. I heard the song. I heard all the stuff.
all the things. Okay. Well, it's the um, it's the curse of doing live stuff on the internet. It either works or it doesn't. And speaking of which, we're going to be talking about AI agents in QuickBooks Online, which will either work or it won't. So it's a common theme here. So yes, it's brought to you by schoolofbookkeeping.com, where you can learn QuickBooks your way. How are you, Rachel, now that I can hear you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very, very good. Very good. Now, you just got back from a lot of traveling, and scaling new heights was one of them. How was that?
Yeah, it was really, really cool. And we had a really fun event for the top 100 pro advisors, which I was in. And I had a lot of really good sessions, and I learned more than I've ever learned at Scaling New Heights. It was really cool. And then I was away at dance competition for a week and a half in Myrtle Beach. And then I stopped in Asheville, North Carolina, and I saw Deb Hall, who is my very good QuickBooks friend. And now I'm back home.
There you go. Well, I'm glad you're back, and my vacation as well. So we've been away for a couple weeks off of the Workshop Wednesday, and lo and behold, the whole QuickBooks world turned upside down
Yeah,
while we were gone. Which maybe they might have done that while there was a non-QuickBooks sanctioned conference going on.
maybe. But I'm telling you, this whole new user interface is driving me absolutely insane. But maybe that's a discussion for another day.
Well, we had kind of talked about the user interface in a prior workshop.
We
So if
did,
you
and you had presented the 3 different views, or no. Maybe you did that to me another time. But I had my favorite, but now it's my favorite that is showing, and it's still giving me a headache. I can't.
Yeah, Alicia Katz Pollock and I did a little deep dive on the final version of the combined user interface on the latest QuickBooks Accountant podcast. Oh,
Uh-huh.
unofficial QuickBooks Accountant podcast.
Yes.
It's not officially sanctioned by Intuit, and thankfully, we don't have to answer to to what Intuit wants us to say about those things. We can
Oh my
give
goodness.
our own interpretation of those things, but. Today, we're going to be talking about the AI agents and which QuickBooks is using as its justification this year for its pricing increase,
Yeah.
because well, pretty much Sasan had made no last Intuit Connect that was last October. He made no apologies or anything. He didn't apologize for anything that's coming.
No.
um, and they have pretty much bet the entire company on AI. Spent a lot of money, laid off a lot of people, rehired a lot more smarter people, with all in service to AI. And they announced this whole Intuit Assist across all the Intuit ecosystems, and now we're starting to see the fruits of that labor come into QuickBooks. And the way that Intuit is packaging or branding these things is by calling them AI agents
Hmm.
built inside built inside your QuickBooks. And I think it's a way to humanize digital assistants, right? I have a subscription to Centra, which basically is branded. It's separately, it's not an Intuit product, but it's branded as AI employees, and
Hmm.
there's 12 little guys, and they're little babies, and they're very cute, with the whole idea of humanizing AI. And then, of course, as you grow with as you feed the AI machine with the AI brain, they actually is something in there called Dan's brain that I can feed it files and things like that. And the whole idea is that these little kids are going to start to grow with me.
Okay,
And
I just saw an episode of Black Mirror about this exactly. Literally. It didn't end
uh-huh,
well either.
right. Well, there's countless movies that are out there that say AI is not a great thing.
No. I
Eventually,
mean, I think that the first original was what, 2001 A Space Odyssey or something like
yeah.
that?
What are you
Yeah.
doing, Rachel? This is highly irregular.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And plus, I'm also like, I'm all for, assistance, whatever, but just please. I'm registering states for sales tax right now. Please give me an AI agent for that.
Exactly.
Come on.
And that's really kind of where we're at with this evolution of AI, is that they are a helper, right? And they help you do the mundane, repetitive tasks that is really delegated or relegated to your entry level employee,
Right.
right? So they come in, they do a lot of copying and pasting, they do a little pre work, those types of things, and that's kind of where it is right now with regards to Intuit Assist, because as it does some cool and nifty things that we'll kind of talk about and unpack here. you know it's a trust but verify type of thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You're not going to just set it and forget it and let these AI agents just run rampant, right? I just put together a blog article. Let me go ahead and share the QR code and link here as soon as I can find it. There we go. There's the QR code, and I think, put in the chat already the link to the article. So that should have fed out to all of the social channels that we're streaming onto today. And let me go ahead and share my screen so we can take a look at it here. Make sure I do the right one. There we are. Okay. Tried to do that ahead of time, but I was so engrossed in the fact that I couldn't hear anything that now I tried to make a one-stop shop. So I combed through all of the information that's out there and tried to put it in one place. And I wish this video or this image was a little higher, because that's really I'm just zoom in a little bit. But here's the robot over on the right side saying, "Did I do good?" And then the accountants. Sorry, I didn't have a equal, because I used AI to generate this image. so when I so when I gave it
Well,
the
guess
prompt of,
what? I don't get offended by those things because it's robots and I don't care.
all right, uh, I'll regenerate it with a group of accountants that are equally diversified. I don't know why I chose
Yeah,
two
I don't care about
males.
that stuff.
Uh,
I have other things to worry about.
apparently, when you put in accountants, it means white males with a beard,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
So,
hey, that's a step up from like the guy with the green visor and the adding machine.
yeah,
So I'm cool with this.
right. But the accountants are saying, "Nice try, Qbot. We'll take it from here." And that's really where AI is right now. Is you know doing those things, doing the tasks that are kind of repetitive, mundane, but time, that take time, and then the human comes in after that to really validate those things, right? Like you wouldn't use AI to create a first draft, or I mean a final draft of your blog article, which lo and behold, that's what this article is generated from AI that I've oversaw and reviewed and took a look at, and I can tweak and make it better, right? So let's first talk about like what are these QuickBooks AI agents, right? So the way they're listed here as, think of them as the behind the scenes assistants, right? They're not here to take your job yet, right? They're here to handle the repetitive stuff like key surface insights, give you more time to focus on the work stuff that matters, like advising clients, not chasing down missing receipts. Those things that are time consuming but not a value add, right? So, like you just said, I'm registering people for state tax or sales tax, right? So, those types of value added services that, could be repetitive, those types of things will help you get the lion's share of that stuff done first, whether it's, well, I don't know what it takes to register for sales tax, but those admin tasks of collecting that stuff could be essentially automated, and then you just then finish it up and make sure that the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. I almost said dotted. Dies were odded, but
Yeah, the die's rotted.
right. Right. So let's talk about what QuickBooks plan gets you which QuickBooks AI agent, right? Because it's not a one size fits all, and it's not one version gets all of them, unless you're paying for the advanced, which gets all gets all of them. So Simple Start doesn't get any AI agents. Wah. But it does get the AI driven categorization, right? Like, so it's not really a full AI agent. It's more of what you see right now in the bank feed. And we'll talk in a couple weeks about the new bank feed that's coming. And so we'll talk about those suggestions and those types of things. So that's what you get with Simple Start, is really just kind of AI driven categorization of transactions, right? Now in Essentials, you get three. You get the accountant, or I'm sorry, the accounting. Now, you don't get an accountant, you get an accounting agent, and then you get the payments agent and the customer hub. Customer hub's not available yet, so really you only get two. So the accounting agent, what do? They help categorize transactions, reconciles accounts, and flags anomalies, right? And we'll, as I scroll down on this blog article, there's little more deeper dives, because Intuit has created deeper dive articles about the different AI agents as well. So I've just tried to make this blog a one-stop shop for everything, right? Then your payments agent is all in service to QuickBooks Payments and helping you get paid faster within QuickBooks, of course, by using the QuickBooks Payments function to be able to draft invoice, categorize expenses, set those reminders. This is where I think a lot of the repetitive tasks of collections and those types of things are going to be a real time saver for a lot of people, because one, you can you can use AI, and you can use the AI that's built in to draft contextual communications with your clients and choose a different tone, right? Like, this guy's habitually late. Maybe you want to be a little bit more strongly worded in your email or communications with them, or maybe it's just a slight oversight. It's the first time that they're late paying their invoice. You can change the tone with that, and more importantly, you can not misspell things
That's
because
nice.
I am horrible with that, and that's when people are going to realize that AI is taking. I'm using AI is when I don't put typos in things.
Exactly. For me, that's actually a huge welcome.
Yeah, yeah, and of course the M dash is the dead giveaway between whether it's been used with AI. Because there you can see right here, I failed to take out the M dash out of the blog article. And then the customer hub, which is coming, but really this is the true marriage, I guess, is probably the best way to describe it, of the Mailchimp and QuickBooks. And this is where I think this is going to take QuickBooks to essentially another level, right? Because you're going to be able to use this customer hub as a way to find repeat business that maybe you didn't even realize, and create campaigns, communication campaigns right out of QuickBooks, so that you'll be able to get more business, because it takes less money as a business owner to get a repeat business than it does to find a new business,
Yeah.
right? So
That's pretty
if
cool.
you
I'm glad they're adding that.
right, and of course, paying for Mailchimp is not a cheap endeavor. I think you can actually pay more for Mailchimp than you can for QuickBooks Advanced, right? Because it's a pretty robust feature or function. Now in Plus, you get everything essentials, but you get the customer agent and a little bit deeper AI insights. I saw this actually last night when I was running a profit and loss on my own business, and the profit and loss and the balance sheet are the first reports that have this AI insights, and it ran a profit and loss for the month, and there were certain accounts that had this little AI logo or icon on it, and when I clicked on it, it said, "Well, you've dipped down 73% from last month," and the reason being was there were two invoices the month prior that are not in this month. I'm like, okay, well that explains it, right? So it just made it wasn't like it was anything worth panicking about, because it was an anomaly that there was an increase in May as opposed to June, right? So it was assuring, and I was like, okay, well that makes sense, and I can move on, right? So these insights are something that's, I think, pretty cool, as far as what it what it could do, right? Again, it's not going to take the role or the job away from the accountants or bookkeepers that are out there. It's really just something that they can look at, and I don't know what's the what's the word I'm looking for, but it's something that will just be okay. Well, it's all relative of the transactions being entered, and it's all relative to the transactions being entered correctly, and that's the real true value of the accounting profession in this mix, right? Then in advanced, you get everything that's in plus, but you also get more, four more agents: a finance agent, a project management agent, an analytics agent, and a payroll agent. So you don't get payroll agents if you're using Simple Start with payroll. You have to use advanced with payroll in order to have the payroll agent. And then in the mobile app, you're going to get select AI agents to interact with kind of on the go. They never did say which of those select invoice agents you get an access to.
Maybe
But
it's just like a random selection. Like
yeah,
one day you get this one, and then the next day you get a different one.
a smattering. You get a rotational agent. I'm
Surprise.
sure, just like anything that you do in the mobile app, there are things that you can do, and there's things that you can't do, and you're likely going to have the same kind of um, experience with these AI agents. All right, so we talk a little bit about, again, a little deeper dive, but then we take each one that there was an Intuit article on, and talk a bit deeper into what those agents actually are designed to do. So here's the accounting agent, right? So AI powered transaction review. So it's we're going to see some things where it's either suggestions or ready to posts, or this is kind of changing the terminology between the old bank feed and what's coming in the new bank feed about suggestions, rules, um, matching, adding, those types of things. The terms are just going to change to make it a little bit more user friendly for those that might be do-it-yourselfers, right? And when we talked yesterday with on the QB Power Hour, uh, Sarah brought up a really great point where she was a full charge bookkeeper, where she was the face of the accounting, right? And that shift from full charge bookkeeping to the customer really owning their business or their books with QuickBooks Online is really the it's really the bottom line as to what is actually the how the shift is actually taking place. You as an accountant or bookkeeper are invited into your client's data as opposed to you offering outputs to your clients, because you're doing all the things. You're doing the running the payroll, you're running the AR and the AP functionalities, the whole back end service offerings that accountants used to do now are a little bit more challenging to do because of the shift from the customer focus of I own my own data as a business owner with QuickBooks Online, as opposed to here's my subscription, or here's my QuickBooks company file locally. Now, Rachel, have you seen that shift, or I mean, you kind of came in as that shift was happening?
Um, yeah, I mean, well, repeat that question just so I understand clearly.
Well, like the shift from QuickBooks Desktop to the cloud, where most accountants and bookkeepers kind of built their practice around, hey, we're going to do all the things inside of the QuickBooks and then provide their clients with their financial outputs, balance sheets, profit and losses, and those types of things. But they're doing everything as
Oh,
opposed
okay.
as
So my practice is much, much different. I do not have a lot of clients that do the things. We're pretty much an outsourced accounting department. We do mostly everything for them.
got it.
So I do have a few clients that will enter invoices, but I do not have one client that does their own bank feeds. We're a little bit different,
Mhm.
but I do know that a lot of people have clients that will do their own stuff.
Got it.
But yeah, I mean, because I use it really as uh, with us doing all the accounting and all of the bookkeeping. I don't know.
Mhm.
I have noticed all of the shifts and all of the things, but my clients probably don't.
Right, because you still kind of do the full charge bookkeeping kind of services,
We do
but
everything.
just
Yeah.
in the cloud, right?
Yep. Yep. And but we do a lot of people that are moving to from QuickBooks Desktop to QBO, and The confusion is in that,
Yeah,
and that is what I'm dealing with right
yeah,
now.
the everything that they used to do inside of desktop, and that really just depends on what the client was doing inside of QuickBooks to begin with. Like if they were doing a lot of the workflows and tasks in QuickBooks Desktop, then it's where who moved the cheese? Like where did it where did it go? Right. So other things in here, and we also have unlike what QuickBooks would tell you, we have the cautious tips in all of these sections. So like for the business feed and the bank feed, right? Always scan these before posting. Especially for edge case or unusual vendors, right? Auto post with oversight, right? Check the posted tab for anything surprising, right? Because automation is powerful, but it's not perfect, right? And then there's advanced features of the accounting agent, and that's going to be what's in Plus and Advanced, where you have the AI powered reconciliation, where it will automatically reconcile certain transactions, your bills when you're paying with QuickBooks Bill Pay, your payments that have been sent from invoices and then received payments that way, and then deposited. It already knows that those things are legitimately reconciled. It can automatically reconcile those things. And then that report analysis, where I mentioned, the anomaly in the profit and loss, those types of things are going to be part of the accountant agent, right? So it can save you some time, but you always want to review its work, right? Trust but verify with these AI changes here. Then there's a payments agent, which is an Essentials Plus and Advanced. Again, this is going to help with collections, um, invoice reminders, late fees, guidance, right? So if you're allowed to charge a late fee, if you're allowed to charge an APR on that, those types of compliance things will be part of the payments agent. Be able to personalize email messages, autofill your invoices. These are things that the payments agent is going to do. Powerful tool, improving the cash flow, because that's what's important for a lot of businesses, is having money in the bank, right? AR looks great on a balance sheet, but it doesn't look great in the bank account. Right?
Nope.
And then a finance agent. Now this is advanced, so you only get this in advanced. The finance agent scans the books and surfaces key financial insights like cash flow trends, expense spikes, revenue opportunities. So this is things that it's going to kind of, touch the surface on advisory, right? But of course, this is digital advisory and not human advisory. And that's something that is what's the word I'm looking for? That this is really where we're at, when it comes to AI taking over for accountants, right? It will automate your workflows, but it will never humanize the relationship, right? So even Intuit realizes that, and understands the power of human connection and human relationship. Um, we just don't know which human Intuit is talking about when it's when when a human is needed, right? Because they'll just talk about an expert, right? Like maybe you want to talk to an expert about this. Well, who's the expert? Is it you, Rachel Dauchi, at Net Deposited, or is it a badged employee that you might want to pay Intuit an extra $50 a month to talk to, right? So that remains to be seen as to which humans they are. Tokenly mentioning, talk to your accountant. And of course, when you do talk to the humans at Intuit, oftentimes they will refer more complex things to a pro advisor or your connected accountant, but maybe they'll want to talk to you first and then make that decision. um, it always may or may not be the best thing for your client. So sometimes it's a matter of battling with the Intuit marketing machine because they get first dibs. Because this is an online product, and they'll be able to communicate with your client much faster than you might ever will be, and that might be a challenge sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So we've got some things in here about the finance agent. Bottom line, though, is the finance agent can save you time, spotlight opportunities or risks, but always apply your professional judgment before acting on its suggestions, right? So this is the
Yeah. I'm not ever going to use that. I'm sorry. No way. Not at all. I'm getting my master's in accounting. There's no way I'm using a finance agent in QuickBooks. It's not happening.
well,
Sorry, Intuit.
well, like we were saying earlier, right? It could be a good first draft, right? And
Yeah.
it could spawn or spur. There's the word I was looking for. It could spur a question for your client to talk to you, like, well, QuickBooks told me, maybe we should change our terms, or I don't know whatever it might be, and then that's where you have that conversation, that valuable conversation with your
Yeah.
client, right?
God.
Another agent in advanced only is the project management agent. Um,
Now
Bottom line here,
that I'm down for. That I'm
yeah.
down for. So anything that's organizing, I'm on board.
Mhm.
Anything that's going to do, possible projections or whatever, no.
Yeah, that really is encroaching on Rachel's jam. Right. So project management, this is all centering around, the project's functionality inside of QuickBooks. So you've got it monitors your active projects, tracks progress, costs, deadlines, profitability in real time, right? So it highlights when a project is at risk of going over budget or missing transactions or missing the milestone. So again, you still need to do some input with that, but once that's set up, then it will uh, provide alerts, along with that. So there's automated task suggestions, profitability insight. So it's going to analyze costs versus billings, those types of things. Again, it's only going to be able to respond to things that you've entered in to that, right? So if you don't categorize an expense to a job or a project, well, it's only going to be able to tell you based on the inputs that you put into it. It can't make things up, but it might also say, "Hey, it looks like you didn't categorize a whole bunch of things," and offer, to do that, right? So again, that's a powerful tool for keeping projects on track and profitable. So where do they show up, you might ask? Well, there's the business feed is going to be probably the best place to see them all, right? Because that business feed with the Intuit Assist logo, that's going to be kind of the new home for all things that are AI related. You'll see those within those, and then within the apps. Now, remember when we had talked about the um, the new user interface, the terminology of uh, workflow areas, so like customers and sales, those are now considered apps, not your third party apps that we would typically call them in the past, right? So within the app, so inside of customers or inside of uh, vendors' expenses, the expense app, that's where you'll see those AI agents start to show up. And then, of course, front and center, right at the top, is going to be your smart search bar. So anything AI related is going to appear there first. So all of this in service to discoverability of these AI agents. Now you can ignore their suggestions, right? So it's not going to automatically do a lot of these things. It's just going to give you those suggestions, and kind of like that robot here at the top. Did I do good? Right, right. And as you start to interact with them, and as you start to use their suggestions, then of course that is going to be fuel for, hey, somebody liked what we did here. Let's make sure that we offer that to other people as well. This is something that, QuickBooks Desktop is would be infinitely harder to implement other than, here on a QuickBooks Online uh, platform. So that, in a nutshell, is these Intuit agents that have been, it's the release has been since July 1st. So here we are, 9 days in, and it's a slow rollout. So not until the fall is where you're going to see it in every one of your clients. So Rachel, first thoughts of what this is.
I mean, I like it. I think that, it's a lot kind of unleashed all at once. And, I'm very visual. So the new interface is, kind of thrown me a little bit. I'm really thankful that I can turn on old view. Who knows how long that's going to be available. But I appreciate, the AI agents for anything that's, like I said before, like organizational or, helps me categorize or whatever, but really anything that comes to bookkeeping is recording transactions. That's it. Bookkeeping is not financial projections and creating a budget. That is not bookkeeping. That is accounting. And when you really need a trained accountant to do that. And so I feel like they're trying to get into the realm of, hey guys, like, here you go. Here's this software, can do all this for you. And from the perspective of an accountant like me, I'm not saying this in a bubble. Every other accountant's going to say it just like me. It's, it just gives me a little bit of pause because, I want to make sure that it's accurate. There's a certain way, to do things to make potential clients and current clients feel comfortable about their data and, their business that, if I were to say to a client, like, let's say I, was just doing bookkeeping and I was like, oh, hey client, like, here's this AI agent bot, like, let me press a button and like to do some projections for you. If I was the business owner and somebody were saying that to me, I would say like, no, thank you. Because I don't, I wouldn't know that person is skilled enough to do that.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
that the bot was skilled enough to do that. I really value like, hard accounting skills. But I mean, having said that, like, if you could use it, to like help teach yourself and train yourself and then, really, coach yourself up at that point, with maybe some accounting knowledge, then, who's to say it can't be great? My first instinct though is like, let's stick with the bookkeeping because this
Mhm.
is the bookkeeping software, right?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And again, I think the main thing right now is verify the findings.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what Intuit is using to train these suggestions, right? So, are there is there a team of CPAs and GAP certified, accountants, um, you know, using, and pointing these out, or are they just looking at all of their subscriber base and, um, aggregating the data and say, well, 95% of the time, Home Depot goes to jobs and supplies, right? So that's what I'm going to suggest for you as opposed and everyone else. Or, and as well as anyone else, Rachel, um, you've come across a lot of clients with bad data,
Yeah. I
right?
mean, and I also like, I'm also coming from the perspective of like I'm cool with the bookkeeping tasks and the repetitive stuff. Like don't encroach upon, my accounting knowledge that I have put countless amounts of hours into. So that's what I'm saying is like I'm coming from the perspective of that, which I know I'm not alone in that. It's the reason why, there's various CPA organizations that don't want the reduction in required
Mhm,
hours because it's taking away from the requirement of that knowledge. You know what I mean? So it's like
mhm.
there's a happy medium, I think, but we're always going to be like, every time they're like, we're going to make this software do everything you do, and again, I'm totally open to using it as much as might help save me time.
Mhm.
That's where I think the key word is. And maybe what I can train it, maybe what I can do, and that's fantastic. But I don't want it to do my accounting work. That's kind of where I am with it.
Right. And for the time being, it looks like you can ignore these suggestions or turn off, these suggestions. Um, that's the way it is today. Who knows what it is
But don't
tomorrow
get
or
me
the
wrong. I mean, like some of the automations already that are in there, like the bank feed rules, and
Mhm.
I mean, I can't live without those things. So don't get me wrong. I mean, there's some things that I really really love, and for that I am very eternally grateful. And maybe once I'm used to this a little bit more too,
Yeah,
I might change my tune.
yeah. But don't expect these to go.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, and don't expect these things to go away anytime soon because
Yeah,
you know um, Intuit has spent an enormous
they
amount of time
they have
and
bet
money
the
and
farm.
effort. Yeah, they've bet their entire company
Yeah.
on the future of AI. And speaking of AI, we do have our AI cohort that we've been just started this year, not this year, this week. So we had our first live session on Monday. We have our first follow up session tomorrow, but it's a 4 week cohort with Ted McRae from Makers Hub. He's a certified promptologist.
Oh my gosh, he's so amazing with AI.
um, we've had him on the workshop, and we've had him on the QB Power Hour several times. He's a really great guy when it comes to basically being able to make the most out of AI. And this whole thing is about how accountants and bookkeepers can leverage AI to do some of those um, advisory types of services. Creating your own series of prompts to be able to analyze your client's financial data. Right, so that is where you can leverage AI, not just the ones that are in the programs that you're using as they use AI, like Intuit or Katana has a little AI dude and and those types of things. This is something that you can use for yourself and tailor it to yourself. So we have this. You didn't miss anything if you missed. Well, you did miss something. You missed our first live live chat, but it's been recorded. You can always go back and watch these things if you want to get started even late and have access to that, all for a setup fee of $97. So pretty cheap because most of it was created by AI. Now, if I did all those things by hand, the setup fee might be a little bit more,
Yeah.
right? So that's what we've got this week. To next week, not tomorrow. Next week, we're going to be talking about customizing your sales forms inside of QuickBooks Online. What you can, the good, bad, and the ugly. We'll also have our friend from Yusuf from with Method. He's not with Method, but used to be with Method on how Method can basically make uh, the layout designer that you know and love out of QuickBooks Desktop into something that's cloud-based and online. So
Good,
hopefully you
because I
join
need
us.
his help. I still want to customize my sales receipt, and it's on my list.
All right. Well, you get a freebie because you're the co-host.
Woohoo!
So we'll see you next time on Workshop Wednesday, and we hope you all have a great week ahead.